Wild weather weekend behind us and an especially timely topic in Compute This.
That's right. We prepare family safety plans and the like. What are you doing to prepare your computer for severe weather?
Welcome back, Thor Schrock from Schrock Innovations.
Got a little helmet, you know, and it straps underneath the tower. No.
You got to protect it. No, but I thank you for this weekend because I did go unplug some of my computer stuff when we had the lightning because of a recent visit that
I
you
didn't
had.
do anything.
We are revisiting this topic because when we see those tornado warnings, those tornado watches, the last thing we think of is our computers.
Or more importantly, you might be using your computer to look at radar data or to get alerts. You know, a lot of the alerts, we have a little weather radio at the house, but you know, if you want to watch radar and stuff, you can't do that on an Apple tablet or phone. You have to have a Droid product for that.
Right.
But of course, just pointing that out. But they don't have flash. But nevertheless, the bottom line is when you have a computer and anything is going to impact the power. So if you're going to have strong winds like we had last night, oh my goodness, some of those winds were strong.
Yeah, patio furniture off the deck and okay.
We had a hosta almost fly off the deck. A potted hosta. I'm like, what is going on?
One of our coworkers said the neighbor's trampoline looked like a paper wad and it came into their yard and it's like this huge trampoline, you know?
They're not light. If you've ever had to drag one across the yard, they're not light.
You're not kidding.
But with your computer, anything that's going to impact the power, whether it's wind blowing power lines around or lightning strikes or squirrels chewing on transformers somewhere, you know, whatever's going to happen to the power is what runs your whole computer, and every computer has a power supply. It's a little device in the back of the computer where the plug goes in, and sometimes they have a little switch on the back, and every computer has a different power supply. Every manufacturer makes their own custom power supplies for their computers, whether it's an HP or a Dell or a Sony. That's why when we build our modular computers, we use standardized power supplies so that if you do have one that goes, we can replace it with any power supply in the marketplace. We don't have to go back and buy the specific one from the specific manufacturer. But what happens is people, I remember my grandma. She did a lot like you, Mike. You know, this lightning storm was coming, she would run around and unplug everything. And it was true back in the day because a lot of houses did not have grounded outlets. And if you don't have a grounded outlet, don't even waste your money on a surge protector because all a surge protector does, I mean, it can block a tiny little bit of a surge and it sends the rest down through the ground. Basically, a surge protector blocks the surge before it can, you know, in the amount of time it takes to route it to the ground wire. So if you don't have a ground wire, if you plug it in your surge protector with one of those little 3-prong adapters,
that doesn't cut it.
It's not doing you any good. You may as well just have it
I love those 3-prong adapters.
Do you know right away if your computer has been hit? Because I think about like a spark or some obvious sign. Can it be subtle?
It usually is actually. In fact, very rarely is there an event. You know, when you do have an event, it'll smell like a if you ever leave a coffee pot on the coffee maker dry and it get that burnt coffee pot smell, that's what your computer will smell like if the power supply is fritzing out on you. But what normally happens is when you take these surges, one surge isn't enough to damage the computer or to hurt it individually, but over time the cumulative effect means when you get up from the storm the next day and you go to push the power button, you may get fans and lights but no picture. Or you push the power button, nothing happens. Or you push the power button and the computer turns on, it gets halfway through its boot up, and then when it starts pumping power to everything, it just shuts off. So a lot of times this happens over time, so people will say, it's been working great, or better yet, I have the OPPD whole home protection, so I don't need surge protectors because OPP told me I don't need them anymore, because it's actually in their marketing.
That's not true.
It is not true at all.
There's something interesting. Sorry, Mike. I don't want to run out of time about this point about surge protectors, and that you have to replace them every so often. One you've had for...
Because they can go out, too.
Yeah, they wear out. They wear out. They get tired. If your surge protector has... If any piece of your surge protector is metal, at the outside casing, that means it was built in the 80s, and it's time to replace it. And I go on site and I see metal ones all the time, and I'm like, guys, seriously, how many homes has this been in? You know, how many times have you moved? But no, your surge protectors in Nebraska, you want to replace them once a year. The surge protectors that we sell at Schrock actually have an audible alert. So when they're tripping, because the last thing you really want to do is crawl under the desk and try to see it. Sometimes you can see there's a protected light, and if that protected light is solid, if you bought a really cheap one, it's just an LED anyway. It doesn't really mean protected, it's just for show. If you bought a moderate one, you'll usually have a switch that has a light, and that light will flicker or dim down when the surge protector has been damaged. It doesn't turn off. And then, like the ones we sell, they run about $50 in that neighborhood. They actually have an audible alert. So like when your surge protector takes a surge, it chirps like a cricket. And if you've ever had a cricket somewhere in your house at night,
you track that
you will track it down and replace it, you know?
So
it kind of forces you to do it. So that's what we like because it helps our customers. That's what we use on our bench. But the bottom line is, you know, this morning I woke up and the first thing I did is I placed an order for about 50 power supplies from our suppliers because I know throughout the week, it doesn't happen the day after the storm. This whole week we're going to have a ton of people whose computers don't start up, don't stay started up, or worse yet, if your computer was on during the storm and everything seems fine and then you turn it off, and then it never turns back on. It could be a week later. One of those capacitors drained down. That's why when you call tech support and they tell you to pull the plug out of the back, wait 30 seconds to plug it back in, that's a bad power supply. They're just trying to Band-Aid you through your warranty.
Gotcha. What if you have a computer that may have been damaged in a storm, maybe a power surge came and knocked it out? What do you do with that computer?
It's really important to get the computer checked out if you suspect that there's something wrong with the power supply, because the power supply gives power to everything in the computer. So the power supply itself, yeah, it's a pill. It's not fun to replace it. It's not like, wow, let's go out and replace our power supply today. It's going to be fun. It's not quite as bad as a catalytic converter, but it's not fun.
Yeah.
But you replace the power supply in the computer, and then what if you don't do that, what ends up happening is all those more expensive parts like the motherboard or the hard drive where your data is stored and all those baby pictures and everything, it's getting irregular power, and those devices can actually be damaged.
Yeah.
And so that's when you start to see capacitors swell and pop inside the computer over time.
What about a case where you know that that computer is a goner and you want to recycle it? Can you do that at Schrock Innovation?
Just drop it off, that's right. In fact, anytime you can drop off any computer equipment at Schrock, whether it's a keyboard, mouse, tower. We take cell phones as well. If you have old cell phones, a lot of people don't realize you can recover a ton of personal information out of a cell phone.
But you don't. You clean it up so that the thief
Yes,
can't get to
we
it.
do. all the
The
time.
really nice high-end power surge protectors that you sell, replace those about once a year, you think, still?
No, the nice thing with the Audible Alert is you can run them into the dirt. You can run them till they chirp.
Until they
Yeah,
chirp.
Until they chirp.
Because otherwise what happens is when one of these gets damaged, even if it's just a little bit of damage, it will start to flicker.
We
You have
get
no way to
crickets
know.
in the garage.
Yeah?
Have you ever had a
What do you do
cricket
about
in your
that?
garage?
That's a different segment. That's a different
That is
segment.
So frustrating.
SchrockInnovations.com, Village Point South. You also have another location in Omaha, one in Lincoln as well.
Yep.
There's the Papillion location.
That's right, SchrockInnovations.com, and I encourage you to like them on Facebook because they're always posting some special offers and giveaways, and it's a great way to stay in
It's
touch
just
and
advice,
save money on
yeah.
Facebook. Thank you, Thor. It's
No
great
sweat.
to see you. as
Thanks for
always.
having me.
Yeah, you betcha. So I'm in the market. I don't know if you are, Schrock, but I'm in the market for a set of high heels. Find out why coming up later in the show.
That took a left turn,
You
didn't
got to
it?
work on your transition.
Right.
After the break, the host of Bizarre Foods, Andrew Zimmern, on the first ever People's Choice Food Awards.
Heck of a segue, huh?
It's
about
for
food?
charity. No, it's totally different.